What's going on, guys? FiberFlet here, and welcome to Java 8 Array Lists. Before we get started in this episode, I just want to apologize for the delay on this episode. I've been debating recently if I wanted to continue the series or not, and I decided that I want to. We're going to be trying it in a little bit of a different format this episode, so I hope you guys do like it. And yeah, let's get into the tutorial. So the first thing I want to go over is an array list versus an array. So when you initialize an array, that has a maximum of items it can hold, whereas an array list can hold as many items as you want. That's the main difference between an array and an array list. Other than that, array lists use a lot more memory in Java. So typically you want to avoid an array list if you can use an array instead. So let's talk about the differences and how you make them. So to initialize an array, we know that we say int, our square brackets, and we say array1, and that's equal to a new int, and we're gonna have it be initialized at size 10. Whereas for an array list, we're going to go ahead and do array list. We're going to do our alligator brackets from our last episode. It's going to be of type integer. We're going to call this array list 1. And then it's going to be a new array list. We go ahead and just put those brackets there and let our IDE finish that for us. So that's the difference between initializing them. Now let's go ahead and show adding an item. You cannot add an item to an array, right? You can only set or change an item as certain indices. So this is not applicable. This is where the differences come in. An array list, you add to it. That's the only way you can get new values, like get new indices, for instance, is by adding stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and do we're gonna call array list 1, and we're just gonna call .add, and we have to make sure it's an integer because our array list is of type integer. This can be any type. It can be string, it can be an object. I just decided to use integer because that's easiest to see. Now, setting a value in an array, as long as we aren't out of bounding, meaning our index that we pass in between the brackets is not below 0 or above the max amount of values in our array, it's fine. So we're just gonna set our value at indices 0 to 10. Now, in array lists, this is where array lists can get kind of tricky. You really want to make sure you're not having an out of bounds error here. We only have one value in this array list that we added, so we can only we can only set that value. Since there's only one, that means our only index is 0. So we just do our array list 1.set. We first pass the index, so this is going to be 0, and we are going to set it to value 11. We have no errors there, which means we successfully did. Accessing an item in an array, we simply can do int first value of array. We can set that equal to our array1 sub 0. That's simply just going to be 10. To get a value out of to access a value in our array list, we're going to say int value of array list, and that's going to be equal to our array list 1.get, and then the index we're going to pass as argument, which is going to be 0. Removing an item, we're not able to do this in an array. The closest thing we can do in an array is assign it to null, but in an array list, we're able to remove it. So the way we do that is we're able to do array list 1.remove, and it passes with the index is going to be our argument. So up here, so basically when we're calling stuff in an array list, we call the indice. So we want to get the value at indice 0. We want to remove the value at indice 0. Now the difference between gain the length of an array is simply we're going to say int length of array. We call our array, which is array1, and then we call dot length with no parentheses. For an array list, we want to do int length of array list. That's going to be equal to our array list 1 dot size, and that's going to return the amount of objects in our array list. That's very important for array lists, not so important for arrays. And now we're just going to get into some examples of array lists that we can do. Alrighty, so for our first example, we want to find how many 10s are in the array list 10 10s. We want to see if there's exactly 10 10s in the array list 10 10s. The way we're going to do that is simply we're going to make an int, which is going to be called amount of 10s, and that's going to be equal to 10 10s dot size. Now we're going to simply want to print that out. So system.out.print line. We're going to pass a string first, and it's going to be how many 10s are in the array list of 10 10s. I hope that it's 10 10s. We're going to do all of that. Then we're going to add our amount of 10s and go ahead and run that real quick and see how many 10s are in the array list of 10 10s. I really hope that's 10 10s. And as you can see, if we run it, there is 10 10s in the array list. So for our next problem, we want to pick out a different shirt from our closet. We have an array list of strings shirt that's initialized with yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black. We want to switch these colors around basically in the array list. So first we're going to want to print out what our array list looks like before we edit it. The way we're going to do that is by using the toString method of our object. That's a very typical call in Java, toString. Most objects have it, especially the built-in ones in Java. First, we're gonna pass shirt before change, and we're gonna add our shirt.toString. Then we go ahead and end that. So the way we're gonna do this is by using a for loop. We're gonna say for int I equal to 1. We're gonna start at 1 because we're gonna be incrementing our loop, our index I in our loop by 2 because we're going to be swapping 2 values at a time. So we want to go black, 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 black. So we're going to start at 1. We're going to want to make sure that I stays below our shirt.size. And then we're going to want to increment I by 2. So we're going to do plus equals 2 there. We're going to put in our brackets. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make a temp string that's going to hold our current shirt color. So we're going to say string temp is equal to shirt.getI. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to want to set our we're going to want to set our current shirt to the color of the shirt behind it. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to call shirt.set I comma shirt.get I -1 because we want to get the shirt that's behind this one. And then we want to update the last shirt to what our temp value is. We're going to do shirt.set I -1 comma temp. Basically that way we don't override any of our shirt colors, and if we did this correctly we should see that every two values are flipped in our array. So we say let's shake it up a little, and then we print out our shirt toString, shirt.toString. We should see that if we program everything correctly the color should be swapped. And there we go. So we can see that shirt before it changes yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black. And then let's shake it up a little. Black, yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow. Next thing I want to show you guys is that you can actually sort an array list. This is actually a very important thing about array lists and another key difference between arrays and an array list. There's a built-in function in Java that sorts array lists. Well, if you do an array, you have to do in-place sorting, which is a whole nother topic that we can talk about. But to sort an array list, we're going to want to call collections.sort. Then we're just going to call our array list. To show that our array list of ones is actually changing, first we're going to want to do system.out.print. We're going to simply call ones.toString like that. Then we're going to want to print out again after sorting it, just by calling that again. And then finally, I also want to show you that we can sort our ones in descending order rather than ascending order. And the way we do that is we do ones comma collections dot reverse order. Reverse order. There we go. And then we can print it out one more time to show you guys. So if we did everything correctly, we should see that our array of ones will first be unsorted, then sorted in ascending order, and then finally is sorted in descending order. We go ahead and run our program. We can see that, yep, that works. So we have our list of unsorted ones, then our list of sorted ones in ascending order, and then finally our list of ones sorted in descending order. And that's basically array lists. They're probably going to come up again in our tutorial series. Eventually, they're a key component of programming. The actual data type is a list. An array list is a type of list. For instance, in Python, everything is just a list. A list is a separate data structure entirely in Java. Then we might go over in a later episode, we might not. But I do know is in our next episode, we're going to be talking about stacks. So stay tuned for that. If you guys like pancakes, you're going to love the next episode. And yeah, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed our new format of video. I know that I enjoyed it better, so hopefully you guys liked it too. Anyway, thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys next week, hopefully.